When you're first deciding what item to produce to sell on Amazon, it's a pretty overwhelming process. There are billions of products on Amazon's ecosystem, seemingly, and there's a race to the bottom on price. So, what do you do to start? My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy, and in this video, I'll be answering that question. First thing you need to do is make sure you have some sort of paid tool to help you do some of the research. I like to use Helium 10 personally. I've also used Jungle Scout, and there's also Viral Launch. Those are the three best tools to do product research, in my opinion. I like the Helium 10 Chrome extension. It gives a lot of good data, very easy to use. So let's say you're first starting out your search. This is how you should not do this. So go in and type in baby goods and say, start scrolling down. This is not a great way to do product research. And there's a variety of different reasons, but one of the things that you do gather from doing a search like that is you can see, what are the top ranked items. And I like to use a Chrome extension called DS Quick View just to show me these rankings. So that way, if I'm looking at something and the farther down the niche you go, the better off you're going to get with information on those particular subcategory products. So if you're looking at a dozen products on the search page here, you can quickly ascertain, okay, here are the 2 or 3 big major players. What's better than doing it this way, and this way may just be like for funsies, right? You're just, I'm just kind of gathering information and you're looking down, but you're going to see a lot of information all the way from food that babies buy, toys. So it's a really tough way to do things. So one of the tools I like is this Amazon Black Box product research tool from Helium 10. In here, I've pre-filled in some information. So I wanted to go into the baby category. I'm going to select some monthly revenue, and I decided to do anything between $100,000 and $200,000. And that's because I wanted to have a really big seller, but I also wanted to make sure the price point was very particular. I wanted between $20 and $30. I did not want to be selling something under $15 because margin and profits are a lot harder to come by. So that's probably the biggest tip you'll hear in this video so far, is try and sell things on Amazon over $20 if you can. Definitely will help on margin for sure. All right, so you've got a lot of different things you could also filter. You could even try and filter for things that have bad reviews to see if you can go make some improvements to their product. For example, let's say I wanted to sell yoga mats. Well, the most common things I ever saw in yoga mat reviews were, number one, they stunk, and number two, they slip. So if I was going to go out and build a yoga mat today, which I have no interest in doing, I would go build a yoga mat that prevented stink, and I would have one that had some extra grip so it didn't slip. And then I could claim some damages and sell mine for $5 or $10 more than the competition. So that's generally the basic idea of what you want to do when you're trying to think about product research, is find an item and make it better. So you can gather down here. So there are 45 products in Amazon today that sell between $100,000 and $200,000, between $20 and $30 retail in the baby goods category. So you see how quickly a filter like this can give you the perspective that you need to know where you need to go develop an item versus looking for the 100,000 results when you type in something like baby goods. So that's why you need a tool. Very, very important that you do that. All right, so here on this page, you can see everything from baby food again to some booster seats, a lot of booster seats. Baby bottles. So if you want to get into glass bottles, because there's a big movement to get away from plastic, for example, trash cans, etc. So that would be the first step, is to look here and find what item do I'm interested in. So here's the next tip. I would say that it's really important that you develop an item that you have some firsthand knowledge in. So if I was going to develop baby goods and I didn't have kids, and B, didn't know anybody else with kids, and C, didn't have any experience buying those kinds of products, that's probably not a good product to start with, right? But if I was a connoisseur of baby goods and I had 5 booster seats in my closet and all this information, and I know it's good versus bad, totally different question. Additionally, if you've been to a lot of retail shows and you've seen all these kinds of products, that can be a big game changer. If you ever go over to China, and coronavirus right now may prevent that, especially with the upcoming big events like the Canton Fair. You do get a lot of information at those big retail shops, but I actually personally prefer going directly to the manufacturer facilities because you can't really figure out who's the player and how big or small they are and what their actual capacities are when looking at them from a booth, right? So go check out the actual manufacturer plant if you do make any plans to go over to China. All right, so let's say, okay, I really want to get into glass bottles. And so I'm going to go do a bunch of research. Then I'm going to go over to Amazon. I'm going to read reviews. I'm going to try and figure out why are these selling? Why is Avent the big player here? I'm going to go look at all their reviews. I'm going to watch their videos. I'm going to find as much information as I can. And I'm also going to look at their margins, right? So here's another thing that I really like. And by the way, I just see a bug here, see pricing card. If you ever see that as a seller and you're having an issue, the way to fix that is to set your minimum advertised price. That's where they're getting dinged right here. All right, so in the top right, I'm going to turn on my Chrome extension, hit X-ray. I can gain all the product information that I possibly need. That's also pulled up in the black box section as well, but it may get me some additional product information pulled in here. You can download that into an Excel file and start populating data as you compare all the competitors. So that can be very, very helpful. So now let's go back to the black box and let's just say, okay, forget revenue. I don't need that information right now. I still want to say 20 to 30, but now I'm going to try and find some particular information about glass baby bottles, right? So I'm going to hit search on that. So that brought up 39 products here. And similarly, I'm getting a lot of similar items, and you can see there's some big players here. So, okay, maybe I want to filter this by, reviews, so I can sit low to high, high to low, and basically figure out, okay, where's the problem? So this guy's at 3.9. Why is this guy at 3.9 when everybody else seems to be doing a lot better? Let's go out and figure out what's going on with that. So let's go over to the Chico listing. Why is their item not as well received? And go to the 1-star reviews. Does not vent. Poorly designed for marketing purposes. Arrived broken. That's an irrelevant one. Poor latch. Bottle nipples are a big fail. Faulty nipples. Don't buy them. I wish I didn't buy them. The nipple folds in every time. So those are big problems with this particular design. So if you were going to make some glass bottle, baby bottles, you would want to figure out, okay, where did their mold go wrong? So is this nipple that protrudes at an angle just a big marketing gimmick, or is this something I can manufacture better where everybody else has failed? So that's the question you have to answer, and if you feel like you can, and then do some margin analysis. So this sells a 2-pack for $21.99. Again, you can quickly figure out what their FBA fees are. So let's see, I actually prefer looking at it in the Chrome extension, so I'm going to hit X-ray here. It'll show all the FBA fees. One thing I wish most of these tools would do is I wish they'd break out the referral fee separately. This $8.06 includes the 15% referral fee, so we can kind of back out of that the FBA fee is right around $5. The other thing I would do, this is probably one of the most missed things when people do product research, is go back and look at their price history. And so you can click all time on this, and you can see here, okay, so the new price has dropped several times. They went down to $14, they went down to $10 even back in August. So big spikes. And you can also see that's the blue line that we're looking for price changes. So why in the world would they ever go down to $10? Well, maybe they were trying to get a big push going into Q4 before they raise their prices to get business rankings. There could be all kinds of reasons. But that's scary, right? So if somebody's going down to $10 and they normally retail for 21, that could be a variety of reasons. Maybe they were going to discontinue it. Maybe the market is saturated, and you should look at this price history for a dozen products before you make a decision. So the other thing you can look is the sales rank. How long have they had a pretty consistent sales rank now? This tool, which is through Helium 10, but is produced by Keepa, I believe, one of their partners, can show a maximum of 2 years data here within the Chrome extension. So clearly they got really popular right around April of 2017, and which is longer than 2 years. So I think I'm mistaken on the 2-year mark there. But basically, I'm just trying to figure out, okay, is this a consistent product or is this a buzz product that went away? Is it a fidget spinner, which is going to be the flavor of the month and then die off, right? So those are the kinds of things you should look at and figure out. So that's kind of how I like to do product research. The next step, I'd go throw all of my ideas into a Google Sheet. I'd calculate all of the profits and the margins. I'd then start contacting manufacturers, which you could do on Alibaba or direct, go through a broker or however you want to do that. And then basically figure out, okay, here's my cost of goods, assume all of the costs that it would take to ship over, and taxes and imports and customs and tariffs and all that good stuff, and then work yourself backwards to basically say, okay, if I spend 10% of my gross sale on marketing, my cost of goods is 25%, and Amazon's going to take a 33%. What's my net margin going to be? Does that leave me any wiggle room in case something bad happens? Okay, we can assume that Amazon customers are going to return somewhere between 3 and 5% of the goods, which then there's fees to restock it. There's all kinds of things you don't think about initially as a new seller that will hit you with fees. I like to call it the crap hits the fan um, analogy. So make sure you assume that 5% of your sales are gonna go away for a variety of different problems or reasons. And if you can't assume that 5% hit, then chances are it's probably not a good product idea. So give that a whirl. If you would like to hire me for a coaching session to go into very specific detail on how you're going to do your product research or talk about manufacturing, go over to myamazonguy.com and you can book a coaching call on the top right here. You can even schedule it, pay for it right here, and sometimes even same-day appointments are available. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and feel free to leave any questions or comments on the video.